Much like the first song on the Lover album, I truly forgot that Netgalley existed. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through the Netgalley books that I am determined to read in November. Most of the book community is going to be doing non-fiction November, but I like to do things a little differently. I like to spend November trying to catch up on some of my Netgalley goals, trying to shift off some of the dead weight that has accumulated over the year, and basically bringing my score back up to a bit of a healthy situation. Right now, it actually doesn't look too bad. I'm at about 85 or 86, I think, which is over the feedback ratio of 80% that they want you to be. But there are quite a few books on the list. I've gone a little bit too hard on the request button and not so hard on the give feedback button because I have not read any of the books. Also, at the start of 2023, I set myself the goal that I wanted to read at least 2 books off of my Netgalley shelf every single month, and that truly has not happened. So I have a lot to catch up on if I'm going to even get to 12 Netgalley books this year. So I have given myself 7 books that I definitely want to get ticked off this month. I know there will be a couple of others that I might look at. I know there will be a couple of books that I might read that don't come from my Netgalley shelf, but these are definitely my priority for the month. First up is a super festive book. This is 'Tis the Damn Season by Kimmy Freeman, and yes, this is based on the Taylor Swift song. This is following Aspen, who is 22 and has basically taken the world of music by storm. She has got sell-out concerts, she has got platinum albums, but something is missing. She hasn't got that guy on her arm that she has been hoping for her entire life. She goes back home to her family's home in Pennsylvania for Christmas and bumps into Rowan, who was her childhood love, her childhood sweetheart, and the chemistry starts to reignite between the two of them. Things start to heat up again between the two of them, but there may be a little stipulation. Rowan doesn't want to leave Pennsylvania, and Aspen's career means that she can't go back to Pennsylvania, she can't leave LA, and she's basically on the road the entire time. I'm really interested to see how true to Taylor Swift's story this is actually going to be, because it sounds pretty similar to her upbringing. I mean, Taylor was born in Pennsylvania, she now lives in LA. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a somewhat semi-biographical story of Taylor Swift, just with different characters in it. Next up is another really wintry book, and that's With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. She also wrote Love in the Time of Serial Killers, which I also have a copy of, not from Netgalley, but I've really got my eye on it. But somehow I'm really more drawn to this book. This is set in a fictional winter wonderland where it's 24/7, 365 days of the year, snow, ice, chills, but it's based in the middle of Orlando, Florida. Lauren and Asa are rival co-workers, and they are tasked by the marketing department to come up with some ideas to drum up a little bit more revenue, to bring a couple of more feet through the door. And of course, Lauren and Asa butt heads the entire time through their campaigns. They basically go up against each other to try and up their Christmas game. And of course, they start to fall for each other as they do. Next up is the book on this list, which has the most autumnal cover, not just of this list, but of any book I think I've ever seen. This is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This book follows Ari and Josh. Ari has a reputation of not sleeping over after one-night stands. She will just head straight out the door, and Josh is kind of looking for something a little bit extra. Of course, because of their clash of personalities and clash of what they're looking for, things don't work out between the two of them, and they go their separate merry ways. However, around a decade later, Ari and Josh are, by chance, brought back together again in a bar, and they decide to become friends without benefits. They get together for Netflix binges, they go out on little coffee dates as a purely platonic thing, but one night the boundaries start to blur between their relationship and things start to heat up again. Next up is My Hot Friend by Sophie White, and I feel like this is going to be a pretty damning look at social media influencers, because that's something that Sophie White does really well. She writes them spectacularly, and just from the blurb, I'm so in for this one. This one is about Lexi, who feels like a relationship rift is coming between her and her best friend, who are hosting a podcast together. Joanne, who has just had a baby, is in different situation to her other friends in her other friendship group and feels a little bit left out in the lurch. And Claire, who's noticing that her WhatsApp group chat has gone quiet recently, so that can only mean one thing: There is a side group that has been created and Claire hasn't been invited to it. The three of them meet up by chance and become friends, but then they start to compete against each other to one-up each other, or to prove that my life is better than yours, or I am going through a worse thing than you are going through. And I'm so intrigued to see how all of this is going to fall apart and maybe eventually come back together. Next up is the book on this list that I am the most likely to read because it is actually part of a buddy read. This is Time to Shine by Rachel Reed, and I am going to be reading this with Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading. I'm really excited to read this with her. Brittany and I have become really good friends over the last couple of months, ever since the Amazing Readathon, ever since a couple of reading sprints that we've done together. This is going to be my first hockey romance as well, and I'm so interested to discuss it with her, especially because ice hockey is really big in Canada and Brittany's Canadian. So I want to see if it's kind of a true to life retelling of what hockey life is. This book follows Landon and Casey, who are playing for a hockey team together in Calgary. Landon has just joined in the team. He's like the reserve goalkeeper, and he has this kind of resting bitch face, but on a guy. He has a kind of a don't talk to me outlook that people are a little bit intimidated by, except for Casey. Casey and Landon are roommates together, and Casey starts to break down Landon's walls brick by brick by brick, even ending up inviting Landon back to spend time with Casey's family over the holidays, and friendship starts to become a little bit more than that over the Christmas period. Next up is one that I maybe should have read at the start of this year because it feels like a more springtime book, but if I need to remember what warmth feels like, I think I'm going to go back into this book. This is Something Wild and Wonderful by Anita Kelly. I've already read their debut, Love and Other Disasters, and I was completely blown away by it. So I'm really interested to see how this one is going to go for me. This is about Alexis and Ben, who meet up in kind of chaotic circumstances and think that they're going their separate ways, except that they have both signed up for the same stint on the Pacific North Coast Trail. I have never been to the Pacific North Coast. I'm not a big hiking girly either. So I'm really interested to see if this book is going to inspire something in me. But like I said, if I need something that's a little warmer in weather, if I need the temperatures to go up a little bit more, I think this one is a good book to pick up. Finally is The Wakeup Call by Beth O'Leary. I've had an up and down experience with Beth O'Leary's books beforehand. The Road Trip is kind of my least favorite of them, but I'm willing to try again and I'm willing to give her another go. This is about Izzy and Lucas, who are both working on the same shift at the front desk of the hotel that they work on. There's a guest that has noticed their wedding ring has gone missing. Izzy and Lucas are then tasked with reuniting the ring with its owner. When they discover how happy that the owner has become after the wedding ring is reunited with them, and they give a pretty hefty reward to the hotel, Izzy and Lucas discover that there are 4 other rings in the box that maybe they could try and bring back to their owners as well. And while they are doing so, Izzy and Lucas accidentally start getting closer to each other. Those are 7 of the books that I definitely want to read across the month of November. Have you read any of these books already? Which one do you think that I should start out with? Or what book are you most looking forward to in November? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a green heart emoji for Netgalley. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.